You are President John F. Kennedy. Thanks to a U-2 spy plane, you have just discovered that Khrushchev, the Soviet leader, has sneaked nuclear missiles into Cuba, which lies only 90 miles away from the United States. This puts many major US cities in range of a nuclear attack, threatening your country. Your advisor walks in and gives you 4 options suggested by your top generals. You have to pick one. Option 1 is a letter of protest to Khrushchev. Option 2 is bombing the missile sites in Cuba. Option 3 is another invasion of Cuba. And option 4 is a naval blockade of Cuba. What would you pick? But wait, why did Khrushchev send nuclear missiles to Cuba in the first place? After the 1959 Socialist Revolution, Cuba and the USSR became close allies due to their similar ideals and mutual benefit. Fidel Castro, Cuba's socialist leader, requested the missiles after the unsuccessful Bay of Pigs invasion. This wasn't the only reason why the USSR sent missiles. While visiting Bulgaria, Khrushchev and his defense minister Milinovsky were walking down a beach on the Black Sea. Milinovsky pointed out that nuclear warheads capable of destroying Kiev, Minsk, and Moscow in a couple minutes sat on the opposite shore in Turkey. Khrushchev asked,
"And why then can we not have bases close to America? What is the reason for this imbalance?"
Kennedy had to respond quickly to show that America would not step down and allow nuclear weapons close to its territory. Kennedy ordered to plan a full-scale invasion of Cuba. Meanwhile, a naval blockade was set on the island to not allow any more nuclear weapons into Cuba. By this point, Khrushchev still refused to accept that any missiles had been sent to Cuba, which put the USSR in a tough spot as Kennedy could show the world that Khrushchev was lying by intercepting any missiles sent to Cuba. Kennedy announced that the missiles had to be dismantled or else Cuba would be invaded. After this, sources claimed that Castro suggested that the USSR should launch nuclear missiles against the US to stop any invasion of Cuba. The world froze as there was a real possibility of nuclear war between the USA and the USSR. Khrushchev's response came in the form of an urgent letter sent to Kennedy on the 26th of October.
If the assurance were given that the President of the United States would not participate in an attack on Cuba and the blockade lifted, then the question of the removal of the missile sites would be an entirely different question.
A day later, before Kennedy even replied, Khrushchev sent another second letter with new demands.
"We agree to remove the weapons from Cuba. Your representatives will make a statement that the United States will evacuate its similar weapons from Turkey."
Kennedy didn't know how to respond. On one hand, Kennedy could invade Cuba, making America look strong and assertive. However, this plan could end in nuclear war. On the other hand, Kennedy could appear weak and accept Soviet demands, but avoid any war or conflict. Kennedy responded to the first letter, accepting that America would not invade Cuba. Later on the 27th, Robert Kennedy, JFK's brother, secretly met with the Soviet ambassador Anatoly Dobrynin. This meeting was crucial to de-escalate the situation, as both diplomats agreed to remove the missiles in Cuba if America did the same in Turkey. This meant the end of the Cuban Missile Crisis. Later in June 1963, Kennedy reflected on the Cuban Missile Crisis by saying,
"In the final analysis, our most basic common link is that we all inhabit this small planet. We all breathe the same air. We all cherish our children's future, and we're all mortal."
Both the Soviet and the Americans were shocked at how close they had come to nuclear war. What both countries didn't know was how close the Soviet submarine had come to striking America. Thank you for watching. Please consider liking, subscribing, and watching more videos. Part 3 will be out soon.